Thanks. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with everyone. I'm Bruce Usher, and my colleague Lauren Westley is on with me as well. And the two of us are leading this initiative called Open Climate Curriculum, which is an initiative led by Columbia Business School, where I'm a faculty member and co co-director of the Tamer Institute for Social Enterprise and Climate Change. As you'll see from the presentation, though, although this initiative is led and funded by Columbia Business School, it's not a Columbia Business School branded initiative. It's really an open source initiative. Let me, if we could just flip to the next slide. Thanks very much. The whole concept here is, which was created about a year and a half ago. I'll give you a timeline in a second. I'll show you that. The concept here is relatively straightforward. The idea being that educators at business schools are increasingly tasked with teaching climate change because of student demand and because of the necessity of addressing climate change globally. It's a very complex subject. It's a global subject, and it's a rapidly changing subject, and one which most educators don't have a great deal of background in, which makes it a challenging subject to teach, frankly. And the concept was that instead of us each individually creating our own courses and our own course material, our teaching material, our notes, our slides, and everything that goes with teaching a business school course, that perhaps if we shared our materials, we could do more faster. And really the key here is the faster part, the accelerate part, because as people know, work on climate change, that the real issue is a timing one. We need to graduate more of our students to go out and tackle the issue, and the faster we do that, the better hope we have of avoiding climate catastrophe. So about a little over a year ago, we brought together a group of faculty from 6 schools, ourselves, HBS, Wharton, Berkeley, MIT, Duke. There's one more, sorry, I forget off the top of my head, to come into a room and just say, how do we feel about sharing? And the reception we received was very positive, that the faculty are very keen on sharing on this area. And so we kicked this off. One thing I should mention at this point is at the moment, the Open Climate Curriculum Initiatives is just for business school faculty. We are going to be opening up to faculty at other schools of higher learning, law schools, policy schools, and even undergraduate institutions, simply because a lot of the materials are very, very similar, and we all have a lot to gain from sharing those materials. But this is entirely faculty focused. It's not a tool available to students. Next slide, please. So the platform that we developed provides materials to share in really 4 areas, but primarily just one, that's elective courses. So a number of schools, including Columbia, have climate lessons embedded into our core courses. So we're sharing some materials around that. There's elective courses, which I'll talk about in a minute. There's cases that we're sharing now. These are case links and abstracts. In fact, the cases themselves at this point are not yet freely available. I should mention, by the way, the platform and everything on it is both open source and free. There's no charge, no cost to anyone. The cases, however, we hope to make some of the cases free access, but at the moment, that's something beyond our control. And then, there's executive education that we can share materials on. So most of what we found interested in from faculty is around elective courses, and starting with course syllabi, sharing material, sharing syllabi that are available to faculty. So that's how we started. We basically just reached out to faculty and said, would you be willing to share your syllabi with each other? That was the starting point. And as we worked through this last summer and started to collect syllabi, and as you'll see in a minute, I'm going to give you some data. We have about 100 climate course syllabi collected so far. We also started to realize that we could do more than that, which brings me to our next slide, please. And what we found was that we could incorporate AI, the buzzword of the moment in education. But actually, we found that AI could be really helpful here. And what we learned was that the challenge with AI tools like ChatGPT and other models are they gather too much information from too many sources that are unreliable. So if you use AI today to create teaching material, you will find that the information you gather is highly unreliable, and the output therefore is highly unreliable. And while useful, it's not ideal for teaching. Going forward, what most organizations are now starting to do is use AI in a very constrained way. In other words, by the AI only uses the material that we give it. So we know what the inputs are to our AI engine. By restricting that, we can keep the quality much higher. We know what's going into it. And therefore, the output is much higher quality. So the inputs are controlled by the OpenCC community, for example, our core syllabi. The AI is obviously not our AI, and we use a number of different tools, including ChatGPT. And you can select essentially what kind of AI to use. And the output can be in any language. In fact, the input can be in any language as well. So one of the great advantages of OpenAI of the Open Climate Curriculum for a global topic like climate change is we're essentially language agnostic, which allows us to share a lot more material and use a lot more output more collaboratively. I will say the AI tool is very much under development at this point. It's certainly operational, it works, but it's of limited value at this point. It needs a lot more input material, a lot more tech development that we're working on right now. Next page. So let me give just an example. This is the tool that works today. And if we have more time, I'd give a demo. But just to give you an example here, into the AI tool, which we call Climate TA. If you type in, could you develop a graduate level climate finance core reading list, including a couple of climate justice readings, it'll spit out something like the below. Now, most educators in climate change could find this material on their own, but the AI really saves educators time. Essentially, that's what it's there for. It's not telling you these are the materials you have to use. It's giving you a list of what it recommends. Where does it get this from? It gets this from other educators. In other words, this is not like OpenAI, or ChatGPT that collects it from anywhere. This is collecting it from the materials that have been submitted by other educators. So in that sense, we believe it's a much better response for educators, much more useful and much higher quality. If you could flip the next slide. I just got, I think, 2 more slides for you very briefly. The timing of this, I mentioned, we started about a year ago. This proof of concept tools got together to talk about this. We launched a prototype at COP28 in Dubai with a bunch of educators, primarily from Europe and the Middle East, and got their feedback, which was very positive, and also including the translation tool. We've had a lot of interest from the media. There's some interesting article in the Financial Times, and NPR's Marketplace did a little piece on it. Which brings us to today. And where we are today is we're getting a lot of interest in this platform, but it needs a lot more work. And so this summer we have a team of MBA students and some technologists working on the platform functionality, and also reaching out to educators all over the world to get their feedback. What is their sort of pain points in teaching climate change, and how can this platform and the AI technology help address some of those? Going forward, we will have a Climate Week event here in New York City. If you will be in New York City in late September and come into Climate Week, we would love to have you attend the event and learn more about what we're doing and get your feedback and participation. And then again, we will be participating at COP29 in Azerbaijan to further roll out the functionality of the platform at that time. Next slide. I think this is just about our last slide here. Just where we are today, we have 375 platform users on it. About 150 of those are educators. To join the platform is quite easy. You basically register, and then we confirm that you in fact are with a institution of higher learning, and then you're on it. Those 375 are with 180 institutions of higher learning. At this point, the majority are from US and then Europe and Canada. We are really focused on increasing representation in the rest of the world. I just got back from a trip to China, met with a number of faculty in Shanghai and Shenzhen, and there's much interest there. And then, as I mentioned, we're starting to collect course syllabi and the like. Last slide, please. So we need your help. We would love for you to, if you haven't already, to join it. Just go to openclimatecurriculum.org and you just register. It takes about 24 hours to approve you, which simply means that you're, again, with a university or college. We'd love if you contribute materials and provided feedback to us. That's really helpful. And share with your colleagues, both in your institution or others you know elsewhere. And you can reach out to myself or Lauren at any time if you have questions. And that's what we have for you today.